We're back, and we're covering media news. We covered the firing of Tucker Carlson by Fox News, but here's what's happening at CNN. Don Lemon ousted from CNN in move that left him stunned.
What? It was like they cupped their ball smell in their hand and put it in his face.
Here's his announcement. Don Lemon: I was informed this morning by my agent that I have been terminated by CNN. I am stunned. After 17 years at CNN, I would have thought that someone in management would have had the decency to tell me directly.
Why would you think that?
Why would you think that?
The decency?
What? Well, if CNN is about anything, it's about decency.
Oh, my God.
At no time was I ever given any indication that I would not be able to continue to do the work I have loved. At the network, it is clear that there are some larger issues at play. With that said, I want to thank my colleagues and the many teams I have worked with for an incredible run. They are the most talented journalists in the business, and I wish them all the best.
Oh, what did he put on his burner phone, though? That's what. What is he?
Well, here's Jimmy Dore. Breaking: Don Lemon claims he knows and has seen, quote, talented journalists working at CNN. Biggest scoop of his career.
The guy's getting it done now. Now, as soon as they let him go, he's going to start breaking stories. I wonder who the journalist is he saw over at CNN. I wonder, did Cy Hirsch come in for an interview or something?
Maybe he walked by the building one day.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, yeah. Maybe Matt Taibbi came in and did somebody's podcast or something.
But here's the thing. CNN's actually disputing Don Lemon. They say Don Lemon's statement about this morning's events is inaccurate. He was offered an opportunity to meet with management, but instead released a statement on Twitter.
You're kidding.
That's what they're saying.
Boy,
Would you trust them? I don't know. I don't know if I trust them over him.
I think they're both lying.
That's the perfect Don Lemon ending. Is like, no thanks. I'll just go on Twitter.
Yeah, but it's also perfect because now CNN, who he says is better than Fox, and all, they're lying about him.
You know what he should have said? Do you know what he should have said? That he was cornered by two guys with CNN hats that put a noose on it and bleach on it.
That's what he should have said.
He should have Jussie Smollett his exit.
Here's Glenn Greenwald. CNN is accusing Don Lemon of lying. The lawsuit that he brings against them, the one he's already implying he will, is going to be awesome.
Oh. So Andrew, Chris Cuomo has a lawsuit against CNN. Now Don Lemon has a lawsuit.
Time to call Chris Cuomo.
I can't. Are you guys going to keep wagging your finger at how shitty Fox News is?
I think CNN has now been a joke for like a while, right? Like,
well,
MSNBC,
a joke to people like us, but not to people who vote for Hillary Clinton and
not to
Joe
people
Biden.
who have to watch it in airports.
I think it's just people because if you are that kind of person, you probably watch MSNBC and not CNN, right?
Well, not many people are watching CNN. You're right. Yeah.
You probably watch Tucker.
Yeah, you're right. They're probably watching Tucker because they want to get some left-wing news.
Here's former CNN media reporter Brian Stelter. To be clear, he says, to be clear, Fox News did not know that CNN was terminating Don Lemon today, and CNN did not know that Fox was ousting Tucker Carlson.
To be clear, this guy, somehow he knows.
Yeah, why?
So this guy's going to tell me that the guy who with a straight face says that ratings don't matter at CNN to a room full of people who laughed in his face. That's the guy he's going to be. He's going to clear things up. That guy, the guy who's able to hold panels at the WEF Davos Forum. He's going to be clear.
Who still is in touch with Brian Stelter? Like, well, let's definitely keep in touch when you're gone from this job.
Right?
I guess more people than Don Lemon.
I
guess the people who fired Brian Stelter called him up and gave him this scoop. Isn't that nice? Hey, I don't know if you're working anywhere, Brian, but I got a scoop for you.
How did he handle his exit? Did he do it? He did like a sign off.
He did a sign off.
Yeah, they let him say goodbye.
Yeah. He says this was a complete and crazy coincidence, and Glenn Greenwald points this out. There is no comparing these two stories between Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon both being fired on the same day. One was the most watched cable news host in the history of the medium. The other was someone who, despite having one of the most powerful corporate brands promoting him, couldn't get anyone watching him or interested in what he says.
Wow. That well said, Glenn. Nicely done.
And this is from the New York Times. In recent weeks, CNN's bookers had discovered that some guests did not want to appear on air with Mr. Lemon.
No.
And research on the morning show reviewed by CNN executives found his popularity with audiences had fallen.
No kidding.
Maybe this was why. Remember this recently?
Yes, let's play it.
This whole talk about age makes me uncomfortable. I think it's the wrong road to go down. She says people, politicians or something are not in their prime.
Boy,
Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s.
What are you talking? Wait.
That's not according to me.
Prime for what?
It depends. I mean, it's just like prime. If you look it up, if you Google when is a woman in her prime, it'll say 20s, 30s, and 40s. I don't necessarily.
40s. Oh, I got another.
I'm not saying
decade.
I agree with that. So I think she has to be careful about saying that politicians aren't in their prime.
We need to qualify. Are you talking about prime for like childbearing, or are you talking about prime for being president?
What the facts are. Google it. Everybody at home. When is a woman in her prime? It says 20s, 30s.
Like, he couldn't just shut up. He's talking to two women.
He had no idea what he was saying. Didn't really apply to what they were talking about. Right. It was just a little catty insult. And so then all she is, because I had the same question, like, prime for what? I don't understand.
That means prime for childbearing. That's got to be what that means.
That's not the same as just being able to form a sentence, which Joe Biden can't do.
Your career, your prime of your career is different than your physical prime
and also,
for everybody.
Wasn't Hillary like past her prime when she was running for president?
He couldn't stop. He could not stop.
He's in 40s, and I'm just saying Nikki Haley should be careful about saying that politicians are not in their prime, and they need to be in their prime when they serve, because she wouldn't be in her prime according to Google or whatever it is.
Or whatever it is. So whatever this thing is I'm quoting and making
I'm
up
past my prime. I don't know what the kids use.
My brain has been primed.
Remember, he gave this weird non-apology. The reference I made to a woman's prime this morning was inartful and irrelevant. He didn't say it was wrong. He said it was inartful.
It was still accurate.
Inartful.
It was still accurate. Let's be honest, man. As a gay man, bitches be over by 40 years old. Am I wrong?
I'm saying there's a smell.
Here's the Babylon Bee. Sad. CNN fires Don Lemon after realizing he's past his prime.
Oh, look at that, huh? Babylon Bee with a punching a man when he's down.
But, he was entertaining recently. He was, and he was combative. So, for example, this is a debate he recently got in with a Republican presidential candidate.
Oh, yeah, this is really interesting.
Vivek Ramaswamy. They got
Watch how bad he is.
They got into a spat about gun rights and the Civil War and the Second Amendment. Yeah.
In this country. You are sitting here telling an African American about the rights and what you find insulting about the way I live this.
Now watch for this, how his co-host is really checked out and uncomfortable to the point where she takes out her phone. She takes out her phone. Watch.
Again, I live in every day.
Here's where you and I have a different point of view.
Black and white that black people don't have in this country, and that black people do have.
Well, here's where you and I have a different point of view. I think we should be able to express our views regardless of the color of our skin. We should have this debate
I'm not saying you
without me regarding you as a black man,
insulting that
but
you're
me regarding you
here,
as a fellow citizen. That's what I think we should say.
Whatever ethnicity.
There she goes. She grabs
going for the phone.
She grabs the phone.
What were they arguing about? Do you even know?
I don't actually know.
But keep it going.
Yeah.
You are explaining to me
whatever ethnicity I'm,
what it's like to be black.
Whatever ethnicity I'm, I'll tell you what I am. I'm an Indian American. I'm proud of it. But I think we should have this debate. Black, white doesn't matter.
I think we should have this
on
debate.
The content of the ideas.
If you're going to do it, you should do it in an honest way and in a fair way.
And watch how awkward this gets with his co-host.
You're doing is not an honest and fair way. Okay? We appreciate you coming on.
With due respect, Don, I look forward to continuing that conversation.
Thank you. The conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Papa.
We'll talk about China.
Yes, let's talk about China.
Next time you come back.
Oh, thank you. Much to say on declaring independence from China.
Okay,
something you can
move
add
on now, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my God!
Did it feel like you were inside Kamala Harris's head for
what? What? So she's there wrapping up the interview, and he's like, "Let's move. Can we move on now?" Like he's just being an asshole to her.
Yeah,
he can't help himself. Yeah. Boy, that's a guy with he had a little bit of seniority and he thought he had a little bit of power, and that's how he handles it.
Yeah,
he couldn't. And he did that to another female when she was. This is it, right?
We got the clip.
All right. Thank you. That's going to be it. That's the time that we're in, where facts are sort of flexible.
That's why we got Caitlin Collins on the Hill, fact-checking in real time. It was a great interview.
Citing incredible sources, like citing the New York Post as a credible source and saying that facts are, it's just.
He's trying to dismiss factual reporting in the New York Post about Hunter Biden's laptop.
Yes.
And because some former intelligence officials signed a letter saying this came from Russia, he bought into that falsely, because that was a scam, which he's buying into now.
And he's degrading the interview that his colleague just did with a Republican that actually was a good interview.
Yep.
I can't believe that we're here.
Caitlin, that was a great interview. All right, moving on.
Anyway, well, not moving on, because that's That's a big issue when it comes to the American. Hold on, please, with the music.
Oh my God!
Do you know what I love? Like a confidently uninformed guy.
Yes.
Like he's like confidently does like. We're not talking about this. I already believe the thing.
I mean, I bet he had a lot of the confidence came from that suit. That suit was badass. I love that suit.
You know,
he was well dressed.
I remember when I first saw him on CNN, I was like, "Who's this handsome anchor?" And he slowly looked like bloated and crabby.
Yeah. Okay.
This distinction was handed to Don Lemon a few years ago. Columbia Journalism Review crowned CNN anchor Don Lemon the worst journalist of 2014.
Columbia Journalism Review said Don Lemon was the worst journalist of 2014.
But he did make the title journalist.
He did.
You know, that was the year of Ferguson, like the Ferguson protests over the killing of Mike Brown. I remember Don Lemon was there and he said, he was reporting, he says, and obviously the smell of marijuana is very much in the air.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Remember
that's back when
that
he
was
hated
his field
black people.
That was his field reporting.
Yeah, that was he was telling black people to pull their pants up and quit littering.
Oh, he was a young Mehdi Hassan.
Yeah, he was.
of
He
a
was
guy.
telling black people to stop having babies and all that. So he was a regular Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Did you ever think on the same day that Tucker Carlson would get fired for telling the truth, that Don Lemon would get fired for misogyny? That's kind of crazy, right?
It's really like...
That's crazy. It's a real upside down world.
I wonder what it had to be people there were like, I'm leaving or he's leaving.
For
they
Don
look
Lemon?
like they really can't stand him. Like the whole crew probably can't stand him.
That's right. I bet. Look how he treats them on camera.
Yeah.
On camera, he did that to. He's denigrating their work in front of them on camera to the point where his co-host is awkward and like, "What the fuck? She's doing a great job." Hey, turn the music off.
Did you, with the threatening, where he? I still don't know how they tracked his burner phone to text threatening messages to his co. That whole backstory.
No.
Oh, it's crazy the stuff that got
Don
came out
Lemon.
about.
Don Lemon had a burner phone and he texted who?
Like somebody got promoted or something, but he was sending like threatening texts to her.
Really?
That's
Yeah.
right. Yes, this came out. I forgot
And this is
about
for
this.
so
Right.
this is over
Yeah.
years where you're like,
Yeah.
why did
Really?
you all sit around and put up with it?
How did he really?
You haven't heard about this?
No.
Oh.
We'll have to cover that next time because yes, you're right. This came out recently. He had a burner phone and was sending some weird text messages to colleagues, and because he was mad that he wasn't getting a promotion or something like that, or over him.
Oh my!
Some chick got it and he wanted it. It was something like that.
How did they catch him?
I just see that part. It is not clear. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody knows in the chats, but
Okay. Well, all right. Here we go. It's a big day. We're telling jokes in Nashville, Honolulu, Los Angeles, Northampton, Massachusetts, Syracuse, Cohoes, New York, Hartford, Connecticut, Baltimore, Chicago, Rosemont, San Diego, and more. Go to jimmydore.com to get a link for all those tickets. Plus, you can watch my new special, COVID Lies Are Funny.